Hello, I'm here at SchoolAi.com, and I want to break down my experience with a student-facing chatbot in a middle school reading class. First and foremost, go to SchoolAi.com, sign up for an account. But before you do that, click on their safety button on their main homepage, and they have a good breakdown of security and privacy details. There's an IT packet if you want to download that and provide that to IT, but I want the viewer to know that I did do some due diligence here. Just to be clear, this is student-facing AI chatbot, but there is no login, no identifiable information whatsoever. You completely monitor the conversation, and you also can pause or completely shut down the conversation at will. So I'm going to break this down for you, but I've signed in, and we'll go to the space that I designed. So let's take a look here at some of the spaces they have available, and they are kind of neat. There's some ones that have already been generated, right? So if you want your students to talk to an author or a historical figure, they have many of those already available. They're set up, and you can even contribute to the guidelines inside of those if you want to, or if you just want to open it and let kids go, you certainly can do that. There are other spaces that have already been created by teachers, and you can browse those spaces and take those and use them as your own. Or if you want to adjust the guidelines that author put into that chatbot, you can do so as well. So I'll break this down for you. I just selected bell ringer, and I went in and I started designing this experience with my kids in mind. Of course, the topic for me, I'm going to jump over here, come down here and show you the guidance that I provided the AI. So the topic simply was the Hunger Games chapters 1 through 4. We're at a point in this particular classroom where the class has read over those chapters, and then they're just reviewing the ideas, the plot details, and the themes that were uncovered in those first few chapters. The custom instructions I gave to the AI are listed here, and this is pretty lengthy. So I really wanted the AI to chat with them as if they were, a member of the Capitol, and I wanted them to question the students about the plot details and the themes throughout those first few chapters. I trained the AI in some very detailed information that I put together and pasted in to these custom instructions. I obviously identified the grade level of students, gave it a description, and instructed the AI to review themes and plot details in a fun and comfortable way. Okay. And then up above here, this is launched in SchoolAI, and you can provide access to it through a short link or a QR code. In my case, I just put the QR code up front, students scanned, and it does ask them for a name. Let me be very clear. I asked students on purpose a code name. I knew I'd be making a video demonstrating or breaking this down for others, and my students just put in a made-up name, and then they were off and running. So what you see here, I'll kind of detail the left side first. This is a breakdown, all designed through AI. They input this to me. I don't make any of this up. This is fed to me in this dashboard, if you will, by the AI. So it's simultaneously, while conversing with students, it's also providing me live dynamic feedback. So these headlines that you see here, these just give you an indication of where students are in the conversation. It's sort of like maybe what they're talking about right now, what they're doing right now. This sentiment, this emoji here, is kind of the AI's evaluation of how the student is feeling based on the context of that conversation, right? The most brilliant part to me are these insights that the AI provided me live and dynamic while students were responding. These start appearing and updating in this menu over here. And I can scroll down through these, and I can select any of them and kind of dial in on that conversation. And again, I didn't make these. AI provided these insights to me. So let's click in here and take a glance at Lydia's conversation. Lydia's loads on the side, and then I can scan through here and see exactly what the AI and Lydia have been chatting about. Yeah, pretty fascinating insights there. Lydia said, I think lives in the districts are bad because some of the districts are poor and the districts have to give tributes to the Capitol for the Hunger Games. I also think the Capitol is more access to resources and they're more wealthy. So yeah, A great prompt on the AI to get Lydia to uncover some of those differences between life and the districts. Very good. And I want you to know I scaffolded this with students, and we just discussed our own experiences with AI if the students had had any prior experience, and then I also said to them, I'm going to be rotating the room while this is happening. I'll be checking in with you, and certainly, raise your hand, get my attention if you need some support. But what you're also allowed to do with the AI, you're allowed to say, I don't know. You're allowed to say, can you say that in a different way? You're allowed to say, I don't understand. I had solved questions that students answered with what, with a question mark. So be very conversational with the AI, and I encourage students to do that. And believe it or not, it didn't take them very long before they started doing that. And I did notice there were times where the AI would use one of the prompts I noticed use the word tumultuous, which might be a word that the students aren't necessarily familiar with. But the students had the freedom and liberty to just say, I don't understand, or rephrase, and the AI would do that. I paused the whole class, which you have at liberty to do up here. You don't see the buttons now because this session has ended. I ended it, but up here is a pause button. That pauses every chat in the classroom. And we came back together. We actually did this twice as a whole group. And I was able to take some of the insights AI was providing me and then have a whole group conversation about that dynamic. One of them was PETA and Katniss. And the one experience that the book tells us that they have had previously was when PETA kind of handed her that piece of bread early in the story. But so we talked about that, and then I unpaused and sent them back to the conversations they were having, which was a pretty fascinating experience for me. So there's several things here. I want to go up to the summary though. As you see here, this is after I ended the session. AI generated this summary for me of literary analysis, critical analysis, opportunity for exploration, which I thought was fascinating. It said it told me there was an opportunity to explore the theme of resistance more thoroughly. To be honest, I noticed that as well. So in my rotation through the classroom, checking in on students, there seemed to be many of them that maybe weren't familiar with the idea or couldn't remember maybe some of the discussions they had had previously about that idea, one of resistance or of the resistance from the people in the districts and the oppression they were experiencing. Developing that resistance and maybe the impact that Katniss's leadership would have, in later chapters in the story. But so fascinating insights it provided me. I want you to know, again, you can dial in on any conversation. If you start to see it deteriorate, all you have to do is load one, and there's a pause button for each individual student. So I can pause at any of the students. If students are misbehaving, there's behavior problems, you just pause and then go address those behavior issues as you need. One thing I did not explore down here at the bottom under the session guidance, I know I reviewed this with you, but understand this. You have the ability to update the guidance live while the students are discussing things. Now, in all truthfulness here, I just don't have enough experience, call it prompt crafting or manipulating a chatbot in such a way um, to even think like this. I imagine we're all in the same boat right now. However, perhaps I could have a brief conversation about chapters 1 through 4, but then change the instructions to then review later chapters of the story, and the conversation would just keep going with students. I mean, just think about the possibilities that exist here. Again, though, I did not explore this. I didn't change any of the description. All students were chatting, but the ability was there, and I could have updated the AI chatbot, and it could have continued having conversation with kids. So, I thought that one, it just went really well. And I want to be clear, like there are some filters I personally pass tech tools through when I want to, use them in the classroom, or I think they're maybe valuable enough for me to share about. And one of them, the biggest one for me really is, does it makes the teacher more valuable? In some way, does it provide value to the in-person teacher? And that value could be in information or feedback that the teacher could then use to make instructional decisions in the moment or even future instructional decisions. And I think there's certainly value there if a tool provides those kind of things. Definitely is the case here with SchoolAi and these chatbots. Obviously, I didn't release the bot and then go sit at my desk with my feet up, but uh, I found the insights it was providing me and the headings that it was providing gave me enough information to then know, when to pause the virtual conversation to have an in person conversation. And I will say, I think the conversation we had together as a whole group was enhanced by the information they were gleaning through that conversation with the chatbot. So again, this is just one experience, but think about the possibilities that exist here now and the availability of having a chatbot or, frankly, multiple chatbots to partner with as a teacher, as an instructor in that class, and some of the pedagogical moves that could happen. I remember early in this experience with AI, my own experience, going back to that critical moment in November where ChatGPT became public. But um, I remember thinking of something as simple as think, pair, share, right? What would it be like if it was think individually, um, chat with a bot, then pair, then share? So is there a pedagogical move here with an AI chatbot? I've explored other AI chatbots through SchoolAI. I encourage you to do the same thing. I have some made that we're going to try out in classes. One of them is brainstorming an argumentative essay, and I had to do some tweaks in that chatbot to make sure that the feedback from the chatbot was not giving students anything that they could copy and paste. And I think I've got it dialed in, and it's I don't want to keep using this word, but it is fascinating the conversation that the AI chatbot has with students as they brainstorm this argumentative essay. It's tailored to really help them with the structure. So the teacher I'm working with has a specific structure of the essay that she wants students to write, and the AI is tailored or guided to brainstorm with students about argumentative essays and about topics that they could choose from, and then choosing sides and developing those supportive, those evidence, those research-based statistics, whatever it is that they're using to support their argument. It's a fascinating experience. So I'm curious to see where this goes. I think perhaps 2024 will be the year of AI chatbots.